Hello and welcome to Symbols and Cynicism, a podcast where we talk about all of the things that I love, some of the things that I hate, and this wacky adventure that we call life. My name is Bob, I'm your host, and I'm glad you're here today for a deep dive into the Clone Wars Citadel arc. We've got a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Welcome back to today's program. Just one fan reaction lately. This made me laugh. Quote, "Today was our first day with students in the building. I got into the car in the morning expecting a podcast and then was like, what the heck? Where's the new podcast? Then I remembered it's Thursday." End quote. Well, I would say sorry, but I mean, it's not my fault you don't know what day it is, but haven't we all had those days where we're convinced that it is something? Because it just people say days don't have a feeling, and people are wrong. Days have a feeling. Today, as I'm recording this, is Friday, but it has felt like a Thursday for some reason all day, and we don't realize it. It reminds me of that episode of The Office where Dwight thinks it's Friday, but it's actually Thursday, and Jim convinces him that it is Friday, and so then he doesn't come in the next day, which is Friday, but he thinks it's Saturday, and so he's late for work. Anyway, I'm sorry we did not post a Thursday podcast. Fun fact, though, if you're interested, this is our 55th episode of the podcast, and did you know they were not all posted on a Monday? There is one that was posted on a Thursday originally. Our mini episode trailer edition was originally posted on a Thursday. So maybe that's what you were thinking of. You were just hearkening back over a year to the origins of Symbols and Cynicism. Star Wars news before we get started. Have you watched the trailer for Ahsoka Season 2? Oh my heaven, it's so good. So many cool things. I don't want to go blow by blow. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's, I think, the first official trailer. It doesn't come out for a while, but I am excited. If you've not seen Ahsoka Season 1, back up, watch all of Rebels. Rebels is absolutely top tier Star Wars. It's animated, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. If you've seen Mando and Grogu, but not Rebels, you're missing out on the Zeb of it all. He's in Mando and Grogu, great character. He's fantastic. He's in Rebels. Just so many cool things in Ahsoka. We get more Thrawn, and it looks like we get more Night Sisters, and just all sorts of really, really cool stuff. If you are a fan of contraband music and chamber music, I just want to share with you that from now through September 15th, we are offering 10% off on all orders from rhsmusic.online. That is 10% off all digital and physical chamber music and concert band music. 20% off of your order if you spend $250 or more. There is no discount code. The percent will automatically be applied at checkout. If you would rather not pay online with a credit card, you can order directly through me at roberthsloan@gmail.com, and we can discuss booster check or school PO. However you want to pay, we can make that happen. We do take PayPal and Venmo also. Just email me a list of what you'd like to purchase, and we'll get right back at you with next steps. That is rhsmusic.online. 10% off now through September 15th. On the website, there are video scores, part samples, score samples, audio samples, tons of stuff, plus links to our YouTube channel where there are live recordings of most of our chamber music, almost all of it. And speaking of the YouTube channel, I've been doing a lot of Bandcamp visits lately, mostly clients, and there are just some great bands doing some great things out there. Check out the YouTube channel at Robert H. Sloan RHS Music, and check out my Bandcamp tour video series. On today's show, we are deep diving into the Clone Wars Citadel arc, Season 3, Episodes 18, 19, and 20. This is another one of my favorites. If you haven't watched them, pause the podcast, go watch them, and then come back. For those of you who have already seen them, let's roll. Quick reminder, what we are doing on this podcast is working our way through the Star Wars visual media in release order. So we started way back at the beginning of this podcast, or near the beginning, with A New Hope. We've finished the original trilogy. We've done the prequels. We are currently in Clone Wars, the animated series. We're going through all 7 seasons. Not every episode, though. Recently, it has seemed that way. But we're doing our best to pick out the best ones, the most impactful, my favorite. That's my opinion, but it is my podcast. Today, we are closing out our Season 3 coverage with a arc found in Season 3, episodes 18, 19, and 20, known as the Citadel arc. I mentioned last week that we've just come off episode 12, 13, and 14, The Night Sisters. Very dark, lots of magic and witches, and Savage Opress becoming Savage, and then off he goes to seek out his brother Maul. Then right after those 3 episodes, we launch right into the Mortis arc. We discussed that last week. Night Sisters was quite a few episodes ago. The Mortis arc, where we find out Anakin is the chosen one. We meet the Mortis gods, the father, the son, and daughter, and lots of death and magic and mystery, and Anakin falling to the dark side, albeit temporarily. Look, if you haven't watched those, go and then listen to the podcast. They're great stuff. And now the 3-episode arc, The Citadel. Again, this is in 2011 from January 7th, when the Night Sisters' first episode debuted, through March 11th, which is the 3rd episode of our arc today. That's 9 completely insane weeks of completely cool episodes, including cliffhangers, magic, Mortis gods, all of the stuff that goes on today, which is far-reaching in our story. This one not as dark as the Night Sisters, not even close to as dark as the Night Sisters, not as fantastical and somewhat weird as Mortis, but there's going to be names we know and storylines that reach into other parts of our story. Just really, really great stuff. So let's get right into it. The story is pretty basic here. It's a break-in and rescue operation. Pretty plain and simple, though it gets a little more complicated. This is very Star Wars. A New Hope, detention block, rescuing Leia from the Death Star V1.0. Jabba's palace rescuing Han. Several Clone Wars stories of breaking in to rescue somebody. We see it in Rebels. We will see it in Rebels. Star Wars loves a good break-in and rescue operation, and this is one today. So what are we breaking into? We're breaking into a compound called the Citadel. What is the Citadel? Well, the Citadel is a fortress. It's a prison built about 500 years ago by the Jedi as a prison to hold fallen Jedi. This story takes place, we're around 20-ish something, 21, 22, 20 years before A New Hope, before the Battle of Yavin. So we're 500 years before that, which puts us way before the Phantom Menace. You've heard us, Kathy and I talked about it. I've mentioned it, this thing called the High Republic. There's this series of 27 novels that take place hundreds of years, between 200 and 350 years before the Phantom Menace takes place. And by the way, great novels. I just finished Phase 2. Some really, really great stories. What is the Citadel? So it was built before all of anything that we know took place. It was created by the Jedi for the fallen Jedi. So when a Jedi falls and becomes very dangerous, then they would capture that Jedi, if they could, alive, and they would put this Jedi in the prison known as the Citadel. It has since long ago been abandoned, and now it is operated by the Separatists. Now, because it was built by Jedi, it is very, very hard to get into and out of. Lots of extra tech to discourage even Jedi from escaping. The walls can be magnetized to capture your lightsaber. There are ray shields that can come down all over the place. There are doors that slam shut to block off whatever and trap you so they can block off the hallways with ray shields, and doors they can magnetize you to the wall, come get you, and throw you. This is not your everyday, regular people prison. Where is the Citadel? It is on a deserted planet known as Lola Sayu, which is a sulfur lava planet not known for its hospitable environment. Sulfur smells awful. It's like rotten eggs and worse. And there is this sulfur lava all over this planet. There's toxic fumes everywhere. So basically, what we have here is if you can escape from the Citadel, which you can't do, you still have to figure out how to live on or escape from a deserted sulfur lava planet that is trying to kill you. It's like Alcatraz for Jedi. No one escapes from Alcatraz, and those that do die in the ocean. So when the Separatists took over the Citadel, they gave it even more upgrades that we see throughout this episode. There are landmines on the way in, there are guns and turrets and bombs, all sorts of things happening with this facility. Why are we breaking into this horrible place on this horrible planet that's nearly impossible to break into and worse to break out of? Simple. Jedi Master Evan Piell has been captured by the Separatists and is being held hostage in the Citadel. We also fear that he's being tortured for intel. We'll get back to that in a minute. So we're going to break into the Citadel and we're going to get him out. Oh, by the way, the Separatists also have a blockade above the planet, so we can't get to the planet that we also can't survive on while breaking into a prison that we can't break into or out of, so that we cannot escape from the planet and back through the blockade that we can't get through. Side note on Master Piell. He is a Jedi Master. He is also a member of the Jedi Council. So this dude is a big wig. And fun fact, when little Anakin back in The Phantom Menace was brought by Qui-Gon before the Council to be trained as a Jedi, Master Piell was one of the Jedi that voted not to train Anakin as a Jedi. Why do we need to rescue Master Piell? Well, beside the fact that he is a Jedi Master and a member of the High Council and our friend, he was also on a mission to gain intelligence about secret hyperspace lanes. These hyperspace lanes extend from Coruscant out into Separatist space. Now, these are secret. That means whoever has these coordinates can launch secret attacks on the other side of the war, thus tilting the war in your favor. The Separatists could launch a secret attack on Coruscant. So we need to rescue Master Piell just to save him because he's a cool guy, but also to maintain the security of his intel and be able to protect Coruscant. Important mission. Very, very dangerous. Who are we sending? Well, it's basically the all-star team. Anakin Skywalker. That's right. Mr. We're not going to train you as a Jedi is now on the team to rescue the Master who didn't want to train him. No hard feelings, by the way, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi is going. Rex and Cody, of course, are going because they are the captains relating to Obi-Wan and Anakin. Also, the remaining members of Domino Squad are going with us. That's Echo and Fives, plus a bunch of nameless clones who are going to die along the way. Ahsoka why no Ahsoka? She is not happy about being left off the mission. She is told by Anakin that it is too dangerous for a Padawan. This planet sucks. The mission is dangerous. You're not going. I say so because I'm your master. She goes and runs to Daddy, so to speak. She complains to Plo Koon, who tells her, well, basically, like, too bad. Your master said so, so tough luck. So we're going to sneak past this blockade in a separatist transport using reprogrammed B-1 battle droids as pilots. Oh wait, did I mention that the blockade that we can't get by also scans ships for life forms as a security measure? So we're going to fly by there with all these drones and Jedi on the ship, and they're going to scan the ship and go, wait a second, there's life forms there, blow them out of the sky. But don't worry, Anakin has a plan. That's right, Anakin has a plan. What's the plan? The plan is we'll freeze ourselves into carbonite, thus suspending our life signs and therefore not be detected by the scanners. Carbon freezing is usually reserved for dangerous explosives that kind of put it in stasis, so when you're transporting it doesn't accidentally blow up, your ship or worse, and that sort of thing, but it'll probably work on people too, right? Now, if you're not a deep dive Star Wars fan, you might still recognize carbon freezing. Carbon freezing happened in Empire Strikes Back. It's what Han gets frozen into at the end of Empire Strikes Back, right after I love you, I know. That's right. In this day here, it's Anakin's idea to freeze them in carbonite. Quick reminder, it's Vader that wants to freeze Han in carbonite as a test so that he can freeze Luke in carbonite and take him back to the Emperor. Also in that scene, Boba Fett is worried. What if you kill Han? He asks Vader, and Vader says, basically, don't worry, it'll be fine, and if it's not, we'll compensate you anyway. So, shout out to Clone Wars for putting this little tidbit in there. Anakin knows it's going to work when he's Vader in Empire Strikes Back because he's already done it here in this Clone Wars episode. Also funny here, Rex, I think it's Rex, is it Cody? It's one of them, also says, I hope this works. I don't want to end up as a hanging on a wall. Okay, shout out, good one, Rex, but Han is not laughing. Okay, so they freeze themselves, they get past the scanners, we arrive on the planet, they thaw out, showing some effects of carbon sickness. They're stiff, they're stretching, they're kind of like, wow, my head, one of the clones doesn't feel good. He goes and throws up in the corner. They're not as bad as we see from Han in Return of the Jedi. In Return of the Jedi, when he becomes thawed and he can't see, he's blind for a while, he's freezing cold. It takes him quite a while to kind of get back to normal. But remember, Han was frozen for about 6 months. These guys, just a few hours, whatever it took them to get from Coruscant to the Citadel. While they are stretching and getting themselves ready to go on their mission, they notice, oh, hi, Ahsoka, how are you? Wait, Ahsoka? Why are you here? I thought we told you to stay back on Coruscant. Well, apparently, according to Ahsoka, Plo Koon told her she could come, and Anakin questions, well, he would have told me if he overruled my decision, and Ahsoka says, well, you were already frozen, so we couldn't tell you. So I just got on the ship, got frozen, and here I am. Whatever, let's break in. They go in, they're finding Master Piell. Along the way, the warden of the Citadel, who is the sort of one of the main bad guys in this episode, is a character named Osi Sobek, who is really notable because his voice is a lot. In fact, it was specifically chosen by the voice actor that he wanted this character to sound like Christopher Walken. So it's very Walken-like as far as tone of voice, speech patterns. It's got a little bit of a thicker accent and a little bit more gravel to the voice, but it is definitely a I need more cowbell kind of voice. We also, along the way, see Sobek encountering his boss, none other than Count Dooku. Count Dooku is very interested in the proceedings of these episodes because he wants Sobek to get those trade routes from Master Piell. He wants the routes very badly. We'll find out why in a bit. So anyway, we find Master Piell. Master Piell informs the Jedi that he actually only has half of the intel. As a security measure, he split it with his captain just in case one of them cracked. It would only be like half of the intel. Yeah, but what if one of you dies? It's still only half of the intel, and then it's no good to us. So anyway, we go and rescue the captain who is being held with the other officers. And who do we meet? We meet Captain Tarkin. Yes, that's right. The future Grand Moff Tarkin, the Vader release him guy, the blowing up Alderaan in front of Princess Leia guy, the fear will keep the planets in line guy. Yep, that's him right here as a lowly Captain Tarkin. This guy is a bad guy legend. He is only in one movie, by the way, A New Hope. He dies at the Battle of Yavin on the first Death Star when Luke blows that up, and he's still a legend. He's Vader's boss in A New Hope. He says Vader release him, and Vader does. Like, this guy is a true legend. Now, he does also make one brief appearance in Rogue One and another brief appearance in Revenge of the Sith. Plus this here, and to my memory right now, he is only in this arc of Clone Wars, and we won't see him again until Revenge of the Sith, which we've already done on this episode, on this podcast. So bye-bye to Tarkin after this, unless I'm wrong about that. So anyway, here he is a lowly captain in the Republic Army. He is the captain who is working with Master Evan Piell. They're a pair traveling through the war. He, along with Admiral Yularen, eventually end up as major players in the Imperial Army. As the Republic starts to fall and the Empire starts to rise, we get all of this transition happening coming up here in actually a pretty short amount of time. Revenge of the Sith is not that far away. And we'll find out more in a little bit about Captain Tarkin and some of his political leanings, shall we say. For right now, here he is, Captain Tarkin, being very Tarkin-ish. So everyone is found. That's the good news, and it's time to break out of the prison. So what's the plan? They didn't tell us the plan. Now, the good news is the Jedi walked into the Citadel with some blueprints. They kind of know the layout. They also know that those blueprints are before the Separatists took over. So we have the blueprints, but they might not be right. So we kind of have a plan. We kind of don't have a plan. Now we've got a lot more people. We thought we were just going to have Master Piell. Now we've got some of these wounded clones. We've also got Tarkin involved. There's more people. So Obi-Wan has a plan. The plan is to split into two groups to separate the intel, and to find one group will create a diversion while the other group escapes, finds the ship, and rendezvous outside with the first group, and boom, off we go. Tarkin has a different plan. He thinks Obi-Wan's plan is stupid. We should stick together. Obi-Wan wins. Obi-Wan takes Master Piell. Anakin takes Tarkin. They split the clones, and off we go. Ahsoka, by the way, goes with Anakin. Ready? Break. Along the way, Tarkin reveals that he has a problem with the Jedi. Quote, not being willing to do whatever it takes to win the war. Now, that is true. We've said it before. The Jedi are peacekeepers. The Jedi defend. The Jedi are also generals in this case, but they are not win at all cost. They do have limits, and we'll revisit this at the end of these episodes. But here Tarkin lays it right out flat on the line. The Jedi are not willing to do whatever it takes to win the war, and Tarkin has a problem with that life view. Anakin agrees with Tarkin. Anakin agrees. Not to throw up more red flags here, but we just came off an arc where Anakin fell to the dark side to join the sun on Mortis. And now he is agreeing that the Jedi limit themselves too much in power and willingness to do things, that they don't do enough of, quote, whatever it takes. Ahsoka looks a little weird about that. Tarkin also brags that he has, quote, fallen into favor with the Chancellor. Oh, well, aren't you special? Anakin, meanwhile, says, yeah, me too. Like, these guys are like flexing at each other, like, look how much I can bench, look how much I can bench. But what we're seeing here is these two have a lot in common. They see the war the same way. They both hold the Chancellor in high regards. And these two are quickly becoming besties. Now, already said it, someday Tarkin is Vader's boss. This continues later at the end of the episode. Tarkin will tell Anakin while Obi-Wan is standing there. This conversation they're having just a minute ago, Obi-Wan is on the other half of the complex. Ahsoka sees it, Obi-Wan does not. But at the end of the episode, they're both standing there, and Tarkin says, it is nice to meet a Jedi with some military sensibility, and then shakes Anakin's hand and snubs Obi-Wan while Obi-Wan watches with a very interesting look on his face. Did you listen to last week's episode where I said that Obi-Wan knew that Anakin fell to the dark side, albeit briefly, and now he sees him shaking hands with Tarkin and being proclaimed as a military leader with some sensibilities? Yo, that's not the Jedi way. Obi-Wan, in fact, tells him right now, after Tarkin walks away, that we can't win a war while also losing our honor. And here's the major difference. Tarkin, win at all cost, do what it takes. That's our purpose. Obi-Wan, honor first. Yes, we want to save lives. Yes, we want to win the war. Yes, we want to uphold what's right. And that's the problem with the Jedi in this war. We've said it again and again on this podcast. They are torn. We're not supposed to be involved in politics. We're not supposed to be involved in war. We're supposed to be peacekeepers and defenders of what's right. But when what's right leads you to war, then you find yourself in a war. Obi-Wan is concerned with honor and doing things the right way. Anakin wants to hurry up and win the war so he can move on with his life and raise a family with his wife, which, by the way, Obi-Wan also knows about. So for those of you that are constantly willing to defend Obi-Wan, you are losing ground in the conversation. He knows about the marriage and does nothing. And we can wave that away by saying, well, he kind of understands because of Satine. He also knows about the fall to the dark side and apparently has done nothing. And now he knows all about hobnobbing with the power-hungry military personnel who say he finally has a Jedi, he finally knows a Jedi with some military sensibility, and still Obi-Wan does nothing. I digress. Let's rewind and take a different side quest on our escape from the Citadel. Domino Squad. The original members of Domino Squad include Heavy, Fives, Echo, Cut Up, and Droid Bait. We originally discussed them at length in our podcast episode called 99 Problems But a Clone Ain't One. They started out in that episode as trainees in the clone military training program, and they were struggling. They couldn't get through the, what was it called? Citadel training exercise? Interesting. Did you Citadel is a really common word in all of sci-fi. It's in a lot of different sci-fi franchises. It's just kind of a big prison-like military thing, I guess. They struggled to make it through the training exercises. They did not work together as a team. They disobeyed orders. They argued in battle. They had a real problem. You remember the defective clone 99, who was sort of on janitorial duty, kind of helped them. Eventually, by the end of those episodes, they got it together. They succeeded, and they were heralded as what would be some of the best trained squadron, Domino Squad. And as we said at that point, some of them are going to meet tragic ends. We've skipped over a lot of those episodes. Heavy is gone, Cut Up is gone, Droid Bait is gone. We have only Fives and Echo remaining at this point in the story. Well, on the escape, Echo is boarding a shuttle. The shuttle explodes, and Echo is blown up with it. His helmet sort of remains and rolls, and Fives reacts with horror and sadness. This is his friend. This is his brother. Since they were trainees back on Camino, they've been together through thick and thin. And now Echo is apparently dead, leaving only Fives to mourn the loss. Now it's a quick mourn. He has to save himself. He has to complete the mission, but Echo is gone. Spoiler alert, Echo is not actually dead. We won't see it in this episode. In fact, we won't see Echo again until season 7, episode 2, called A Distant Echo. Now, we're in season 3. That's not till season 7. And after season 6, which we'll talk about this in a long time on the podcast, but after season 6, the Clone Wars was canceled. There was a huge gap of time, and then they made season 7. So if we're watching this in real time, we're going to think Echo is dead for a really, really long time. He's not dead here. He is captured by the Separatists. They hand him over to the Techno Union, who plug his brain into a computer. They torture him in order to use his military intelligence about clone strategies and Republic war strategies. Eventually, we'll rescue what's left of him anyway. We rehabilitate him as best we can. He joins the Bad Batch as a defective clone, and not only does he return to Clone Wars, he's in most of the Bad Batch series as well, which, again, I say it all the time. Bad Batch is awesome, you guys. Go watch the Bad Batch. It is so good in the storyline. It's great stuff. For now, Echo is dead for all intents and purposes. 5 lives on. Back to the escape. Another interesting Tarkin Anakin moment here. On their way out to the rescue point, the crew has to rappel down a cliff. The Jedi have cables. They latch on. They go to rappel down this cliff. And not having a cable of his own, Tarkin jumps on Anakin's back. That's right. Grand Moff Tarkin is riding piggyback on Darth Vader. Or at least future Grand Moff Tarkin is riding piggyback on future Darth Vader. I wonder if we ever remade A New Hope using what we know now about the Star Wars full story, if the Vader release him line would be followed by Vader replying with dude, don't you remember when I saved your tail and you rode piggyback down a cliff? For the record, there is no official indication that in A New Hope that Tarkin knows that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. We don't know whether he knows or not. Maybe he does. He makes no indication that he does. So I don't know. Maybe he's keeping his little secret, or maybe he doesn't know. Lots of the world doesn't know. We've seen Obi-Wan doesn't know. We've seen Ahsoka finds out, but it takes a long time for her to find out. Along the way of our escape, their escape shuttle was blown up. They have called for backup, so backup is on the way at a rendezvous point. On the way to the rendezvous point, Jedi Master Master Piell is killed and put to a Jedi burial in the lava flow. Very, very sad moment. Before dying, he does give his part of the intelligence to Ahsoka and makes her promise to give the information to the Jedi Council. Eventually, the crew is rescued by Plo Koon and others. Also, Jedi Master Saesee Tiin, who, by the way, is another Jedi who was on the council that voted against Anakin's training. Have you noticed in this episode, we have 2 Jedi who voted against Anakin? We have a Padawan that is disobeying Anakin's orders. We have Tarkin giving praise for Anakin's efforts and the two of them becoming buddies. This is a lot of foreshadowing, you guys. I think that's what it's called, foreshadowing, right? So we arrive back on Coruscant having spent a lot of money and wasted a lot of lives for this intel. Yoda asks for the intel, but Tarkin says that he is only supposed to give his intel to the Chancellor. Meanwhile, Ahsoka says she promised Master Piell she would only give her report to the Council. Yoda rolls his eyes and sighs in sort of a, oh, children moment and says, I will go talk to the Chancellor and we will sort all of this out. Okay, so the Chancellor told Tarkin to get the intel and report it to him. But we also know that Dooku wanted the intel and was on Sosi Obek's case in order to get the intel for Dooku. And on the surface, you think, well, Dooku wanted it because he wanted to give it to Sidious, right? Or not. Either Palpatine / Sidious was playing both sides, which is possible. He does that a lot. Or Dooku was going behind Sidious's back, the back of his master, in order to get the intel for himself. Which is it? I think the context is important here. Let's rewind to the Night Sisters, just 8 or so episodes ago. Sidious told Dooku that he was to kill his apprentice, Asajj Ventress, because he was worried that the apprentice was becoming too powerful. Dooku got a second replacement from Dathomir named Savage Opress in order to train Savage so that they together could join their power and take down Sidious, which means Sidious was right to be concerned about Dooku's plot. It was Dooku trying to take down Sidious with a new apprentice, or originally with Asajj Ventress. Now stick with me here for just a moment. So I think Dooku was going behind Sidious's back. Why? I'll get back to that in a minute. The Jedi want the routes to be able to defend the capital and attack the Separatists. I think their motives are pure. Why does Palpatine / Sidious want the routes? These routes are secret hyperspace routes. We know that between Coruscant and Separatist space. They are known as the Nexus routes. And we mentioned that they could be used for sneak attacks on either side. I think Dooku wants them to launch a sneak attack and kill Palpatine / Sidious. We know that Palpatine gets them, likely from Yoda, because he sweet talks Yoda, and Yoda thinks, well, he is the Chancellor, and we'll give them the Palpatine, because he's also, remember, Yoda is clouded by the dark side. Coruscant is becoming a place where the Jedi don't think straight, and he doesn't know that Palpatine is really Lord Sidious. Why do I think that? There has been only one instance that Coruscant was ever under major attack, and it's going to happen in about a year from now when Grievous attacks Coruscant, kidnaps the Chancellor, and wages war on the Jedi and the capital planet of Coruscant. And if that sounds familiar, that's because it all happens at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. I believe Palpatine gets the routes now, gives them to Grievous, so Grievous can plan an attack on Coruscant that he can play the kidnapped victim, have Anakin and Obi-Wan save him, Palpatine Sidious, and kill Dooku all at the same time. Palpatine always plays the long game, folks. This is all a plot to kill Dooku. Dude, I love Star Wars. Now, look, here's the real tragedy. Clones died. Jedi Master Piell died. Thousands, maybe millions of credits were spent, all to rescue Master Piell and save the intel. Echo, we think, is dead, but actually worse, he's captured and being tortured and never going to be himself again, all basically for nothing. If Dooku gets the intel in the first place, he attacks Coruscant, which happened anyway, so no difference. Ahsoka delivered her half to the Jedi, but they gave it up anyway to Palpatine, so Palpatine can give it to Grievous, so Grievous can attack Coruscant. All those lives wasted for no reason. Master Piell is dead. Anakin has a new bestie. Obi-Wan still doing nothing. And if Star Wars is like pizza, this is Giordano's. Yes, that's right. Chicago pizza is the best pizza, and Clone Wars is the best Star Wars. I love Clone Wars. I love Star Wars. Go watch some Star Wars. Thought for the week. Every once in a while, somebody tells me, man, I love the homework. You give us things to think about. I think maybe of all of the things in the last year that we've done sort of as homework / thoughts for the week, one of the ones that elicited the most positive feedback is something that I want to read to you again. It's been a little while. You might notice it's familiar. It's one of those things that I never minded reading all the time. And so maybe it'll be a really good reminder for you as an educator. We need to constantly hear this thought. Quote, kids deserve an excited adult. They need someone who's ready to explore and laugh with them all day. Someone who's looking for those magic moments, full of high fives, coming down the line with energy radiating all around. Our kids have far more issues to deal with at home than many of us realize. School is their safety net, their safe place, their one true home. They want and need us to come to school every day, ready to surround them with love, encouragement, and hope. Leave your problems in your car. Take a breath and focus on the positive. Find hope. Kids need the best you. Step out and be your best every single day. Be awesome. The kids deserve it. That is from a book called Kids Deserve It, Pushing Boundaries and Challenging Conventional Thinking by Todd Nesloney and Adam Welcome. That is Nesloney, Nesloney, and Adam Welcome, Welcome. And I just hope that it encourages you to be great today and tomorrow and the next. Your kids deserve it. Your kids deserve the best you, and you're not perfect. You're not. None of us ever are or ever will be. The quote from that book doesn't say kids deserve a perfect adult. It says kids deserve an excited adult. Okay, that's the show. Make sure to leave a rating, drop a comment, or send a message on the app of your choice. You can text the show with a link at the bottom of the description. You can check out our merch store at themarchingarts.com/RHS and our YouTube channel at Robert H. Sloan RHS Music. Quick reminder about our ongoing 10% off sale on chamber and concert band music at rhsmusic.online. I hope you'll join us next week for Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10. We travel to the beautiful planet of Umbara for some rest and relaxation with Jedi Master Pong Krell. Yeah, right. No tragedy coming next week at all. Thanks for joining me today. The theme music is Superfly, written by me, copyright RHS Music. The show logo is designed by John Suh, and our producer is my sister, Kathy. I hope you'll join us next time for more reflections and rantings on symbols and cynicism.